Hey Beyonders, what's going on? I'm your host Joss. Welcome back to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. Hang out with us until the end of the video to get a look at some new bonus content and find us outside of YouTube by clicking our social media links. They are down below. One of our lists continues today with a part 2. We are diving back into some mysteries, trying to figure out where the hell these celebrities went. There have been times that a celebrity goes MIA out of nowhere and people are left trying to figure out why. Well, I figured some of these mysteries out thanks to the internet, so let's check out today's list of top 10 blacklisted celebrities who mysteriously disappeared, part 2. Starting off the list, number 10 is J-Kwon. He made a name for himself in the music industry after rapping about everybody in the club getting tipsy. You remember? Everybody in the club get tipsy. What's the next part? Something like that, right? I don't remember, something like that, but you guys remember that was his song. Anyways, his career was on the rise the same way his songs were on the charts, but then he disappeared from the music world and the public eye altogether. His own friend and manager, Dorian Washington, revealed in March 2010 that he kept trying to call and email him and hadn't seen him since August 2009. His label issued a statement asking fans to help locate the rapper. They even set up a special Twitter account called @WhereIsJaeKwon. After all the chaos, his manager finally wrote a statement saying, "I am very happy to let everyone know that I personally spoke with J-Kwon today and he is okay. He was taking some time to himself as he sometimes does, not realizing that people would start to worry after a while." How could you not realize something like that? At least just tell your family. Coming in next at number 9 is Amanda Bynes. It is not a secret that she went off the handlebars back in 2012 with behavior that ended with her on Hollywood's blacklist. Just a few examples to refresh your memory. She was arrested for drunk driving, charged with a hit and run, locked herself in a West Hollywood dressing room for 2 hours, got thrown out of an Equinox after removing her shirt and exercising in a strapless push-up bra, and photographed multiple times smoking unknown substances in her car. These headlines kept her in the limelight for a while before she basically vanished. She was out of the public eye completely and people wondered what had happened to her. Turns out she ended up getting admitted into a mental institution where she worked on her sobriety and spent some years working out all of her legal issues. Fans were thrilled to see her make a return last year in 2018 with a magazine cover story saying that she is sober and ready to get back into acting. At number 8 is Dave Chappelle. Comedy fans saw him everywhere in the early 2000s when he was starring on his comedy show Chappelle's Show. The entire show was headlined by him and he had some other comedian guests to help him out. His series was successful, being nominated for an Emmy and catching the eyes of other rival networks. His representatives went to negotiate a contract for season 3 and later reported that Dave, I quote, signed a new development deal with Comedy Central that could have yielded him as much as $50 million. After that headline made news, he went missing. No one knew what happened to him or the show and how he could just walk away from a $50 million contract. Fans later learned that he was in South Africa attending a spiritual retreat. He continued to remain in hiding and focus on his personal life until he made a successful return back in 2016. Next up at number 7 is Fan Bingbing. She is one of China's highest paid stars and was in the Hollywood spotlight in 2014 after she starred in X-Men Days of Future Past. Her face was everywhere and she was walking every red carpet to promote the film, but before we knew it, the media was reporting that she suddenly disappeared. Rumors started and were later confirmed that she was busted for committing tax evasion. The Global Times revealed that Fan reported an income of $1.5 million in a small contract and $7.5 million in a larger contract, which was illegally filed as tax-free income. She was placed in secret detention, which explains why she mysteriously disappeared out of nowhere, but she was eventually released after her company agreed to pay $130 million back in taxes and fines. Once she emerged back in the spotlight, she issued an apology saying, "I am deeply ashamed and guilty about what I have done. My sincere apologies to you." Swiping the number 6 spot is Governor Mark Sanford. I feel like the governor counts as a celebrity. Right? I mean, like, he's really well known. Regardless, he is on this list, and back in 2009, he was the governor of South Carolina. People were completely thrown off when he suddenly disappeared for 6 days without telling anyone where he went. I feel like if you're a governor, you can't do that. After the first 6 days, he started telling people that he was going on a hike on the Appalachian Trail. However, he was really going to Argentina to visit his mistress, a woman named Maria Belén Chapur. Once the story surfaced, he admitted to his secret affair and returned to the US and asked for forgiveness. Well, he kinda begged for it. And for those wondering, after the disappearance mystery was solved, his marriage did fall apart. As it should. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Richard Stanley. Now this man isn't well known to some, but his story of disappearance is really interesting. If you've ever heard of the movie The Island of Dr. Moreau, he was the director and got himself fired just 3 days into production. According to the Telegraph, he was supposed to be escorted onto a flight from the set in Australia and fly back to Los Angeles, but when the plane arrived at LAX, he wasn't on it. Some of the extras from the movie ended up finding him a month later living in the jungle. Turns out he left the airport and made his way through the jungle by living off of coconuts, yams, and his personal marijuana stash. No, this is not a joke. What's even crazier is that he teamed up with the extras to create a plan to get back onto the movie set by dressing up as a mutant dog and blending in with the background actors. Like what? I know this story doesn't sound real, you guys, but it is. I swear. Like the source is down below. Here we are at number 4 with Randy Quaid. He was once an Academy Award nominee actor before he disappeared from the limelight. In 2010, his disappearance started making headlines, revealing that he and his wife, Evie Quaid, fled to Canada to try and make a deal with a group called Hollywood Star Whackers, who allegedly were out to kill them. But on their escape to Canada, they got involved in some illegal activities. They used fake credit cards to pay for hotel bills, and also lived in one of their former homes, which they no longer owned or had rights to. According to CNN, they were granted permission to stay in Canada in 2011. His wife was able to get her Canadian citizenship because her dad was born in Canada, but Randy's request was denied in 2013. The actor was finally detained by Canadian immigration officials in October 2015 and was set to be deported back to the US later that month. However, he and his wife were arrested for trying to sneak back into the US through Vermont. So it's basically just a big show. Everyone always runs off to Canada because we're so nice over here. We'll just let you come in. Alright guys, at number 3 is Margot Kidder. She was a huge star back in 1978 after starring as Lois Lane in the Superman movie, but a missing persons report was filed after she disappeared for 4 days back in April 1996. No one knew what was going on until police found her hiding out in the bushes of a suburban California home. Police say that she was, I quote, dirty, frightened, and paranoid with bruises and scratches all over her body. She ended up being taken to the hospital for a psychiatric evaluation. When she was discovered, it was reported that she'd actually cut off all of her own hair with a razor blade to try and alter her appearance so that people wouldn't recognize her. She later spoke on the incident, saying that she suffered from manic depression and spent years working on it. Sadly, she did pass away on May 2018 at 69 years old as a result of drug overdose. This one didn't have a happy ending. Taking our number 2 spot on our list is Casey Kasem. The legendary radio host of American Top 40 suddenly went missing, and his children reported it to the police, saying that they could not find him. It was then in May 2014 that the judge ordered that his whereabouts be disclosed. The order was made because his daughter Carrie was named his temporary conservator. She had expressed fear that he was taken by his wife Jean, who had an ongoing battle with the entire family. The radio host was suffering from Lewy body disease, and Carrie thought her mom took him out of the country or to an Indian reservation to seek treatment. A missing persons report was filed with the Santa Monica police, but he was reported to be found in the state of Washington not long after. Sadly, he died a month later at the age of 82, and his family drama continued on long after his death, still making headlines. At number 1 is D.B. Cooper. He only became famous for hijacking an aircraft in the Northwest United States back in 1971. TV show plots, songs, and books have all been based on the legend of this man for many years, including the movie Without a Paddle. The craziest part about the story is that he's actually an unidentified man. His real identity still remains a mystery to this day, so D.B. Cooper is just the name that he's been given. On Thanksgiving Eve back in 1971, he hijacked a plane saying he had explosives in his possession and demanded $200,000 and 4 parachutes in addition to a truck when they landed at the airport. Authorities did pay out the ransom and gave him the parachutes. However, before they got to the airport, he jumped from the plane 10,000 feet near Mount St. Helens in Washington state. He was never found, and in July 2016, the FBI declared that they were no longer pursuing him. So basically, he could be out there walking the streets right now. He could be watching this. Hi DB. Alright, there's our part 2 list. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments, and hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed it. While you're doing that, let's finish off our list with some comment shoutouts from our part 1 list. Brandon Daniels says, I believe LYF is love you forever. May be wrong on that. I thought that too, but then another user wrote that it means love your face. So I don't know. Help me. What does LYF mean? This is stressful. Annette Fournier says, sitting at your country home down a dirt road watching your horses sounds like heaven compared to LA or Hollywood. That is straight up facts right there. CCNG says, I don't even use Twitter. Honestly, I don't either. I got rid of it a few years ago and I do not miss it. It's honestly probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. Vicky Viao says, these people who tweet all this stuff should actually think before they hit send. I mean, really? You tell them, Vicky. Think before you speak. Or type. Think before you tweet. That should be a new hashtag. Think before you tweet. On that note, I'm getting out of here. Subscribe if you haven't already and hit that notification bell so that you never miss another video. I'm your host Joss and I will see you in the next one.